Director Sports Authority meeting. It is hard to believe, but the NHL preseason has already started. The Preds are off to a great start, so it is always a lot of fun to be in Bridgestone Arena. We appreciate everyone for hosting us and having us this morning. And it's also a special time in our sports community. Our Titans just had a very exciting season opener at Nissan Stadium with a big win. So congratulations to the Titans organization, specifically Coach Vrabel, for what we know is one of many NFL wins. And our partners at the Nashville Sounds are hosting an important press conference later today at 1 o'clock. Everyone is invited to attend the press conference. Additionally, Doug Scopel was recently named Ballpark Digest Minor League Baseball Executive of the Year. And just this week, the Sounds hosted another Nashville SC soccer match at First Tennessee Park. We have a couple of board member announcements before we begin moving through this morning's agenda. First, I would ask you to join me in welcoming our newest board member, John Glassmeyer.
Thank you.
John is a native Nashvilleian and sports activist. He is in IT management with Cigna Health Spring. He is a well-known community leader, a dedicated public servant, and has served on many prominent city boards, including the Nashville Arts Commission, Children's Theater, and the Nashville Shakespeare Festival. John also serves with our attorney, Margaret Darby, on the board of Friends of Shelby Park. So thank you, John, for dedicating more board service to this group. In addition, he also played rugby with the Nashville Grizzlies and led the bid against Chicago for Nashville to host the 2016 Mark Bingham Cup. We look forward to serving with you and appreciate you dedicating your time.
Thank you.
On a much heavier note, we would like to take a moment to extend our condolences to our very own board member, Dr. Katana Starks. Earlier this month, Coach Starks lost her only son unexpectedly. Alfred Donnie Starks IV lived in Indianapolis and was 53 years old. The Sports Authority office has Dr. Starks' contact information, and if you would like to send Coach Starks a sympathy card, please do so, and Alicia can provide you with that information. At this time, I would like us to take a moment of silence in honor of Coach and her son's memory. Thank you. Hopefully Dr. Starks will be back with us next month. As you know, the appeals process for any action of this board can be found at the top of today's agenda. On Friday, the board received the meeting minutes from our August 16th full board meeting. At this time, we will entertain a motion to approve.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. At this time, our Executive Director, Monica Falkniston, will give our ED report.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm going to keep it brief today. Following my report, the authority will consider two resolutions. The first one is for the engagement of Mortensen Messer Construction Company as construction manager for the MLS Stadium. The second one is for the engagement of Stewart Parking Solutions, or Stewart Logistics, Inc., as parking manager of the Sports Authority controlled parking lots at Nissan Stadium. Following action on these resolutions, we'll have the facility questions and the Bridgestone Arena and Nashville Predators report. Are there any questions about the agenda? It's pretty brief. Okay, then just a couple of quick notes. As you all know, on September 4th, the Metro Council gave the final approvals needed under the resolution resolution that was conditionally approved last November to issue bonds to build the MLS soccer stadium. Already an incredible amount of work, as you know, has gone into this project. And in addition to this body, to the Fair Board, to Nashville Soccer Holdings and MLS to Nashville, I just want to thank the Mayor's Office, the Metro Council, Metro Legal and Finance and Purchasing, our project managers. I mean, this is kind of like the Oscars where you know you're going to forget somebody that was really important. But it's just been such a great effort by so many people, and we're excited, and we also are well aware that the work is just beginning. I will say that based on the conversations that I'm having with people, along with the excitement, I think everyone involved with the project really feels kind of the weight of the significance of this project on a number of areas, and are committed to getting it right. We've got a group, Stand Up Nashville, who is here. They've distributed some information that you have in your binders, and you can read through that as well. So thank you for being here. There's a lot of moving pieces, but going forward, the authority will be receiving monthly updates from our project managers, and we're going to keep you informed all along the way. We did this during the construction of First Tennessee Park, right? Monthly updates, and so we will make sure that that continues to happen. Speaking of First Tennessee Park, I think many of you, probably most of you, are aware that the Sounds have ended their affiliation with the Oakland A's. Adam Neuse and Doug Scopel couldn't be here this morning because they're preparing for their own media event. But they did ask that I extend the invitation to the affiliation press conference this afternoon at 1 o'clock to the board. Also said that if any of you have specific questions, to please feel free to reach out to them directly, and they will talk you through whatever questions you have. Are there any questions? Any other questions? If not, that completes my report.
Thank you, Monica. Okay. This time, we are on agenda item regarding consideration of the Major League Soccer Stadium Construction Manager engagement. Monica, I'll let you.
You'll remember that this resolution came before the authority last month. Metro Purchasing had, I believe that morning, had received a formal protest. And so understanding that a protest had been filed, the authority, you all voted to defer action on the resolution until after the protest hearing and the rendering of a decision by Metro Purchasing agent Michelle Lane. So the protest hearing was held on August the 29th. At the hearing, the purchasing agent upheld the evaluation committee's selection of Mortensen Messer. So we're back today with a resolution for your consideration. The intent to award letter from Metro Purchasing is in your binder. It's behind tab 3. And the intent to award is contingent upon approval from the board and also successful contract negotiations. So staff recommends approval. Our hope and our expectation is to bring a contract back to you for review and approval next month.
Who were the protesters? How many were there? 'Cause
There
last
ended
I
up-
understood there was one that had protested, but I understood there may have been another that was considering it at the last meeting.
So a formal protest was received from Barton Mallow, and that was the only protest that was received.
Is the resolution before us from our binders, is that the final language? Were there any changes? I remember there was
We did
conversation
add some
about it.
language. If you look, again, this is behind tab 3. The second, further resolved, what we've done is it says that basically we're going to seek to get through negotiations and to successfully negotiate this agreement in a time period that the language in here says commercially reasonable. And so we don't want negotiations to drag on forever. It needs to be thorough, and we need to make sure that the parties are in agreement, but we want to do that in a time that makes sense, understanding that, we do have, this is a time so, we anticipate meeting with Mortensen Messer on the 25th, and we'll have some more conversations at that time to determine a time frame that would be mutually agreeable and would make sense. That is the only change.
We had a tentative time frame for construction. Is this gonna change it in any significant way?
Any other questions? Okay. So Monica, is it, just so I understand, the language is the same that on that second to last paragraph from what was provided in the four documents, or did it change at all?
The language in the resolution before you is the same with the exception of the next to last paragraph, or the second further resolved. That's where we added the language.
Can you just read the language added, just to make sure that we have the?
Yeah, sure. Further resolved that in the event the executive director, in consultation with the chair and legal counsel and Mortensen Messer Construction Company, are unable to reach a final negotiated agreement within a commercially reasonable time period from the date hereof, the Sports Authority hereby intends to award and engage the construction management services company which received the next highest score from the evaluation committee during the procurement process.
Okay, I think that's the same language that we have, so I just want to.
That, yeah, that is what you have,
Okay,
and
I remember
and
there was some
so-
conversation that might change, so I didn't know if we needed to
we
note that.
foresee that this is just, that we're gonna be able to negotiate successfully and move forward. I think the concern was, given the sensitivity of time, we didn't want to have to wait and then wait another month to bring it back to the authority and lose a couple of months. So this language, Metro Legal and the law director and our project manager kind of came up with this language, and so we will keep you informed, but we expect to move forward.
And I assume Barton Mallow reserves the right to appeal the decision of this authority if they choose to Chancery Court. Well, what is this, let me rephrase, let me just say, what is the status of that? What is the procedural status?
On Barton Mellow's protest?
Mhm.
Well,
So upon the issuance of the determination by the purchasing agent related to the initial protest of Barton Mallow, they had 7 calendar days to deliver an appeal to the Director of Finance as well as to myself. We did not receive an appeal. So as it relates to the intent to award issued by the purchasing agent and that action, the appeal processes are null and void at this point. They don't have any right to appeal that decision. I'm not clear about the action of the board or the authority itself, but as it relates to that procurement activity, the appeal process is exhausted.
That was my question, because I thought that, I saw that 7 days expired. What is the status? What is the procedural status? What are their rights with regard to a decision we make?
It's on your agenda, the provisions under 2.68.030 of the Metro Code of Laws provides for an appeal of decisions from this board. And it recommends that anyone who desires to appeal a decision of this board consult with their attorney to determine whether or not to go forward.
Michelle, will you state your name and title for the record?
I'm sorry, Michelle Hernandez Lane. I'm Chief Procurement Officer and Purchasing Agent for Metro Nashville.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on this matter? If not, at this time, we would entertain a motion to approve the resolution that is before us, approving the engagement of Mortensen Messer Construction Company as construction manager for the MLS Stadium. Is there a motion? A motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been properly seconded. All in favor, or is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Ayes have it, and the resolution is approved. The staff has been working on the parking contract at Nissan Stadium for the past few months. I believe Monica is going to update us on this agenda item as well.
Yes, sir. So you're right. This is something that we have been discussing for quite some time. This solicitation is for the management of Sports Authority again, in your binders, immediately before tab 5, you'll see a map, a stadium map. The lots that are in yellow are the ones controlled by the Sports Authority on a daily basis. The ones in blue are controlled by the Titans on a daily basis. So similar to the construction solicitation, Metro Purchasing facilitated the evaluation committee's review. We had 5 proposals that were submitted, and on August the 15th, Metro issued an intent to award a letter to the firm with the highest score, which is Stewart Logistics, Inc. The 10-day wait period has passed since that intent to award, and there were no protests. So we're asking at this time that the authority consider the resolution behind tab 4, approving the engagement of Stewart Logistics, Inc. as our parking contractor for the management of Sports Authority controlled lots. Upon your approval, we will enter into contract negotiations with them. Again, this intent to award is contingent upon board approval and successful contract negotiations. And just like the CM contract, we will bring the contract back to the board for review and approval.
I move approval.
Second.
I recuse myself from the discussion due to my representation of Stewart in the past.
Thank you, Margaret. We have a motion and a second to approve, with one abstention, to approve the resolution approving the engagement of Stewart Logistics as the parking manager for Sports Authority controlled lots at Nissan Stadium. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is approved. Our board packet includes monthly facility reports for the Tennessee Titans and the Nashville Sounds. If there are any questions or updates as it relates to those organizations, we would entertain those at this time.
So there is one thing that I think we need to bring to your attention. This week, the Titans communicated a request that they received from TSU for interior signage, and so I've asked Steve to come and kind of share with us what he has received.
Madam Chair, members, thank you for letting me address this. And Kim, thank you for your kind words our win this past Sunday. We're also very proud of that. About 2 weeks ago, our organization got a request from our partner, Tennessee State University, asking for interior signage in the building. Our relationship with the university is governed by the term, insofar as the stadium is concerned, is governed by the provisions of a separate lease that is between and from Cumberland Stadium, our stadium operating company, the university's Board of Regents, and the Sports Authority. And in Section 2.2 of the stadium lease between the Sports Authority and TSU, there is an express provision allowing interior signage. And it is a, quote, lessor responsibility, you guys being the lessor. So we undertook to try and find some high-profile locations in the stadium where we could install signage for the university. And there are a number of provisions in the section in question that limit the locations where signage can be. Because if it denies us a revenue opportunity, then we have to find another place. So the scriveners of the lease, and while I was at the table, I have to admit I don't remember this particular paragraph. They indicated that there could be more than one location, and I mentioned the multiple location possibility because if you have 2 signs, it doubles the cost of the signage. So on the upper deck of our building, on both sides, we have what is our the current location of our Ring of Honor, where we celebrate our past players that are and staff who are in the Hall of Fame, Titan Oiler Hall of Fame. And there is plenty of room there for a very large sign. We had asked the sign company that we do business with most often for a 20-foot by 5-foot sign on each side, because the lease also requires that the signage be in a location where it is visible from every seat in the building. So we need 2 signs, one on each side. The total cost is just under $10,000. And if you'd like, we can engage other sign companies to look. This is a metal sign. The university provided the artwork that they wanted, and we have faithfully duplicated that, and the sign company is prepared to go forward. The university, by the way, had requested that we attempt to have the signs up and installed for their homecoming game, which is October the 20th. Plenty of time, but we wanted to bring it to your attention so that get a decision made if we can, because we don't know how much lead time the sign company will need. It isn't a difficult install, we don't think, but it will take probably some lead time to get them up to speed. And if I can answer any questions about the project, I'll be pleased to do that.
Could you, Steve, speak to what potentially might be the cost of the signage?
The bid we have, and I provided it to Monica, is for like right at $9,800 for the 2 signs and the installation. The production and installation is included. It's a reputable vendor. We've done business with them for a number of years, but as I say, we're certainly willing to get other bids if you would like those to.
So would that be an ongoing cost?
No, it's a one-time expense. Like everything else that's made of those materials, the signs have a service life, but in general, outdoor signage at that height that's exposed to the weather will last anywhere from 5 to 10 years.
2 questions, Steve, if I might.
Sure.
Where's the position that they wish the signs to be, and why metal instead of the cloth, plastic, whatever that other material is?
The university had originally asked about having the signage on the fascia of our scoreboard. All of that space is currently occupied by signage that is sponsored by our partners. And moving one of those signs would place us at a revenue disadvantage. At the same time, we want to find a place where it can be seen by everyone, and those 2 locations will be visible to everyone on either side of the stadium without any problem. I mentioned in the letter to Monica, and I don't know how far off in the weeds you want to go with this, the language contemplates the possibility of 2 separate signs. And the reason for that is, on our scoreboard, at either end zone, you can certainly, everyone in the stadium can see the signage that's there, but that space is previously occupied or taken. So if we put it on one side of the building only, then the people on that side will not be able to see the sign. So we have to put one on each side of the upper deck so that everyone in the stadium, as the lease requires, has the ability to read the sign.
So do they stay there?
They are permanent. They're not going to be taken down. That's what the university is entitled to. They are, as I say, a partner of ours, so we want to try and address what they want to do. Metal lasts longer as signage material than the cloth or plastic. Plus, at that height, there are winds that whip through the stadium, and I would not recommend a plastic sign at in that part of the building. They just don't hold up very well. And it's going to be there, 365 days a year, cold, wet, dry, windy, hot, and we want a sign that's going to last a while.
Well, that was my last question, excuse me. But
Sorry.
what are we looking at as far as the life of the sign?
I am not, among other things, a signage expert, but we typically have to redo our interior signs after 5 to 10 years. It's an ongoing expense for us. We do have some banner signage that hangs as curtains off of our elevator shafts, and some of those will last a couple of years, but a metal sign has a longer service life. And I would anticipate it lasting, without fading badly, for at least 5 years. If you have a cloth sign, again, that's exposed to the elements, it isn't going to last that long.
Thank you, Mr. Underwood, for that
Sure.
update. And
Thank you.
Steve, I think it's noteworthy that you, for the first time I've ever heard, said you don't remember this particular paragraph of the lease. I wrote that down.
It was a long time ago.
I've been on this
and-
board 8 years, and, or something like,
Well,
yeah.
there are things that I don't remember as I get older. It's becoming harder and harder, but that was 22 or 23 years ago. There were about 15 people in the room, including attorneys for the Board of Regents, our outside counsel, myself, a number of other people that were associated with the stadium, and of course, the university had probably half a dozen people there. But I cannot, I'm just trying to be
We
honest.
noted it.
I can't
We noted it.
recall that particular conversation. But that is, what I put in the email to Monica is what I believe to be the case.
Thank you. We appreciate you
Surely.
giving us an update on that, and I know Monica will keep us posted.
Well, we
on that
will, and we felt
Can
like.
I
it
ask
was-
a question or two? Is that provision in here for us to read?
No.
Do you
It's
have it
reminded
there,
to-
what our responsibility is under the lease?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, it's pretty lengthy, but I do have it.
Just the part about, I assume that we are responsible for paying for it?
Yes.
And this just came on our radar screen really a couple days ago this week, and so we wanted to go ahead and have a conversation today, and know that the staff and legal are in active communications on this. So.
One final observation about it. We have deliberately not said anything yet to the university because it's a little bit awkward. It's a 3-party lease, and we didn't want to get ahead of ourselves since it is a sports authority responsibility. We did try to do some of our homework, but we haven't let them know where we are. And with your permission, I'll do that, but I didn't want to jump the gun with them before talking with you all.
Yes, please.
So I think again, this is not on the agenda as an action item, but again, we felt like it was important to bring to your attention and to put on your radar. Clearly, I think we need to have a conversation with TSU. I also think that we need to have a conversation with Metro Finance, and we need to determine the funding source. It's not an exorbitant amount of money compared to some of the other things that happen at the stadium, but it is $10,000, and we need to make sure that there is a funding source that's been identified. So I think what we'd like to do is have some time to work on that, to have some conversations. If you have any questions over the next couple of weeks, to let us know, and then if we can kind of come up with the best case scenario, it may be in order to meet their desire or their request to have this installed by homecoming, then it would mean that we would need to ask the board to ratify a decision if we move forward. And I think that's the best that we can do at this point. Like I said, we just found this is just a new request. As you all know, TSU plays 2 games a year, so if it doesn't get up in time for homecoming, then it doesn't happen until next season. But we need some time to talk with finance.
Can you send us a copy of the email?
Yes, absolutely.
I have given Margaret my copy. Well, let me say this. The cost doesn't have any bearing as far as we're concerned. We'll front the cost and include it in the receivable. It won't fit the definition of a capital expense, but that's not what's important to us. We would prefer not to disappoint the university. They don't make a lot of requests like this. They are a partner. I have said this before on other occasions. It might be worth repeating here. I'm not sure the building would be there if it were not for TSU. And we try to keep that in mind when they make requests for things, because the state would not have been involved in the stadium project without the addition of Tennessee State University. So we would prefer to move forward with it, and if money is the issue at all, well, that isn't a problem for us. We'll figure something out about that.
Thank
Just
you.
to Steve, well, I'd like to say that I appreciate those comments, first of all, because it sounds like because it is a part of the agreement, it's not whether or not it will be done, it's where the funds will come from. So.
Yes, and I have already addressed that question.
Right.
If it's money that's a holdup, we can do that ex post facto, as far as I'm concerned.
And I agree that it is very important because they only have a couple of showings in the stadium. And being able to show ownership is critical. So I don't know what we have to do to move forward, but we know that it's something that has to occur. It's just a matter of figuring out who's going to pay for it.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Underwood.
Sure.
We will keep the board updated.
Sure.
And we will move along to our Nashville Predators Bridgestone Arena report. And Kyle Clayton is going to kick off today's facility presentation. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you guys for coming in today. I was going to say we were going to set a record for the quickest sports authority meeting today, but we'll try to play catch up here real quick. One thing that we want to make sure we do today, as we go through this pretty quick, our goal is to have a tour at the end of this meeting. So anybody that can stick around afterwards, I'll be standing right over here, and we'll make it real quick. I know everybody's busy and have things in their schedule today, so just look for me, and we'll try to do a real quick tour of some of the stuff we have going on. Obviously, we have hockey starting tomorrow. It's a very exciting time of year here in the arena. You can feel the cold as you walk in. The ice is back, so we're very excited about that. As you walked in, you saw a lot of construction and things moving around in the concourse. Again, we're going to be ready tomorrow at 5 o'clock for doors. So, but up until then, it's going to be a mad dash to get there. But we're so excited for the season to start. Today's meeting, our goal really is to look back at last year real quick. We've got the pre-audit financials included in your packet today, so we'll hit that real quick, and then we'll really just start looking ahead to next year and all the things we have going on. So I'll lead off with a quick financial update. If you have any questions throughout the whole presentation, feel free to stop us at any time and just let us know. As far as last year goes, another record-setting year as far as events and our schedule and our financial performance. We talked all year long about being the 4th busiest venue in North America last year. We're the Polestar Arena of the Year, CMA Venue of the Year, AIBA Venue of the Year. Again, all these things are possible due to our relationship and everyone's ability and concentration on investing in this building and making it what it is. It's a 20-year-old building, and all of our collective efforts to continue to make it state-of-the-art and continue to update it is how we are able to achieve those things, along with the staff that we have and David Kells and the job that he does in booking this building and keeping it so busy. As we look at our financials from last year, our revenues reached $17.3 million. Again, an incredible growth year over year. As of 6 years ago, that number was $8.7 million. So it's a 99% growth over 6 years. It's just incredible things that we do. The main drivers of that are concert rent revenue, seat user charge revenue, which is paying off the debt service, Ticketmaster revenue, and food and beverage revenue. So those are all 100% driven by our concert attendance and the booking that David Kells is able to do along with our team. It's one of those, as our revenues grow, our expenses have to remain in check. And over that same time period, while our revenues grew 99%, our expenses only grew 63%. And it's one of those things that's really a great achievement, as not only have we done a lot of capital improvements fee investment in the building, but also a lot of private investment on our own side as well. So able to managing those expenses on operating the arena while investing in it and creating those results is really just tremendous. As we get close to the end of every year, we always talk about the projects that we're going to do and how we're going to invest the money. As we've talked about many times this time of year, we have the ability to generate the performance fee, which is left over at the end of our operating year. And it's one of those, as part of our lease, we're able to keep that money as revenue, or we can invest it back into the building. That's one of those things that we understand the obligations of the city and the capacity that the SIF balance has at the moment. And so we take a lot of our own funds and private investment and put those back in the building. We were happy to do that again this year. A lot of things that were exciting to do. A lot of things we talked about last month or 2 months ago really, with the LED ribbon boards and control room and all those fun, flashy things. A lot of things this year were really behind the scenes. We did a lot of HVAC, a lot of mechanical, a lot of plumbing, fire safety, a lot of those things that you don't see and the fans don't really appreciate, but things that have to be done to keep this building going were a lot of things that we invested in this year. But of course we did do some nice big flashy things like we talked about. The Capital Improvements Fund was approved for the LED ribbon board, the control room, and the sound system. All those things are up and installed. They're still working out a few things. There's a few tweaks going on. As part of the tour, when we walk outside, we'll look in the bowl. You can see the new ribbon boards. They will be on. There's still some things that we're tweaking as far as getting things to move and using those to their fullest potential, but they are up and installed and ready to go. So we'll be happy to show you those as we get out there. Another thing we invested in this year was a new set of hockey dasher boards. The big thing there was we really wanted to promote player safety. These new boards have a lot more give in them, a little more spring-loaded, so therefore when a player takes a check, it's a lot more, not as much resistance against the player, so there's a lot less chance of an injury. It's also a cool feature for our fans, because as a player gets checked against the boards, it'll be almost like a wave effect, so that glass will be a big wave, so it'll make a hit look a lot harder. So when I check David Kells, it'll look like I've got a lot of strength behind me, but it really doesn't. Another thing that we'll see on the tour, we expanded our Lexus Lounge, so we built that through the Capital Improvements Fund. I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. This year we did a little bit more investment in that on our side, and we've actually expanded it to grow that number to another 75 to 100 folks down there for both concerts and hockey games. So that's an exciting spot for our fans to enjoy during events. Again, like I mentioned, annually we continually do restroom renovations, backstage things. We obviously continue that again this year. We're excited about our partners at Delaware North, our concessionaires. As you walked in, you might have saw it. We have a brand new twice daily grab and go right here off the main concourse. On the tour, we'll hit that as well. They just renovated a new bar over by our team store that will be new this year. If you've talked to Sean at all in the past month or so, you've probably heard him talk about our new Jersey roller coaster that'll be coming in. It's a very unique display of how to purchase a jersey and have those on display. It's very neat. That'll be in for October 9th, our regular season opening day. It's not on the tour just yet. We're still working through that one. Also, right outside, you might have saw they renovating our pro shop area. That's the original store to the building. It hasn't been touched in a few years, so they're renovating that. And then one thing that they probably won't get a whole lot of credit for, and you won't see, but we'll have a brand new point of sale system for our concession stand. So it'll increase wait times or decrease wait times, sorry, and make everything a lot more smooth transactions there. So we're very excited about DNC, and they're such a great partner of ours to put those funds into this building and again help us to create the best atmosphere for our fans. With that, I know it's probably pretty quick there, but again, I'm trying to keep it brief so we can have this tour at the end. If there's any questions for the financials or renovations or anything like that, I'm happy to address those now, or while we're on the tour, we can hit a couple questions there as well.
Margaret?
So you talked about the increase in the revenues over time, and we've been really interested in the Finance Committee and as a board about the expansion of the SIF fund that was established early on without knowing what these revenues would be. My understanding is that the Capital Improvement Fund and the financing comes up later this year, and that there's some renegotiation going on about expanding the SIF fund. Could you give me an update?
Absolutely. We actually, Bob Blackie's here. I don't want to speak for him too much, but we actually met in the past couple of weeks several times with Bob Blackie and team at Metro Finance, and we're working with the bank as well, Drew Rogers at First Tennessee. We've had multiple meetings over the past couple of months, and we continue to work towards that. We're very confident that we're going to get an extension done, and hopefully we'll have something for you guys to see in the next couple of months.
So when is the agreement, when does it terminate?
I believe it's December of 2020.
Oh, so it's 2020, so it's
Correct.
next year. So you're working now, I was mistaken. So you're working now to expand the SIF fund
Exactly.
before the termination in 2020.
That is correct. Trying to get ahead of as much as we can.
So if you could always put that part of your report
Got
as to
it.
where we are on negotiations, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll include that going forward. No problem.
Thank you.
Hopefully the next time I include it, we'll say that we're
Yes,
ready
that
to
would be
extend it. So,
terrific. Thanks.
any other questions? All right. With that, I get to turn it over to.
A brief comment.
Sure.
With the position that most of our tenants are in, the Titans, the Predators, the Sounds, I know there's a lot of people probably trying to figure out how to copy your success and how to keep up with you guys. But I think one thing the citizens should know is that we have never had a problem in the years that I've been on the board where you guys look at a dime and say, well, I can't do this because I don't have my dime back right now. You reinvest in the success of all of our facilities, and I just think that should be applauded.
We we absolutely appreciate that, and that as 100% from our ownership team, we are 100% committed to this building. We want to make sure that everyone that comes in this door has the greatest experience, and that's what we're all about. We appreciate your partnership in that as well.
And Kyle, on July actuals, they are, is it 119,000 over what was projected for July's budget? Is that right? So
We're talking about the new year here, which we've started. I'm living in the past. Let's see. So for the month of July, our financial performance, yes, compared to budget, yes, we were, well, actually, compared to budget, we were like 259,000 ahead of budget. But again, it's the first month of the year. Remember how we've gone through this budget process many times, Margaret? You know, we continue to update that. But, you know, when Kelsey gets up here in a few minutes, he's going to talk about the event schedule that we have coming up. And again, every year we talk about, oh no, how are we going to beat that? That's record-breaking year. How are we going to beat that year? When we see the schedule that he's got before us already, I mean, the confidence level we have that hopefully we can be the arena of the year again for Polestar and maintain or beat or be the #1 in concert attendance. Again, we're striving hard for that, and he does a great job to book this building to get us there. Any more questions? All right, with that, I will bring up, hold on, let me find my notes. I got out of sorts here. I get to introduce Chris Mason. He's our TV color analyst. He's entering his second season doing that. He's played over 135 games for the Preds in the NHL, and he's also the president of our Alumni Association. So if you would, please welcome Chris Mason.
Hello, everybody. Chris Mason, color analyst. I'm here to update the hockey ops and a little more of the on-ice product. I'll try to be quick as well. Last season, another very historical season for the Nashville Predators on the ice as well as off. They clinched for the first time in franchise history a Central Division title, and they won the President's Trophy as the best team in the regular season. Both of these banners will be lifted on opening night. Two major awards awarded to Nashville Predators this year. Pekka Rinne, he's had an outstanding career. He's had his whole career here for the Nashville Predators. He finally won the Vezina Trophy for the best goaltender in the regular season. Just had an outstanding season as well, and was near the top of every statistical category. And our general manager, a record that was achieved last year that will likely never be broken is general manager David Poyle became the winningest general manager in the 100-year NHL history, achieving his 1,320th victory in Edmonton. So congratulations to him. Again, that's almost an unbreakable record. Off-season changes. Paul Fenton, assistant general manager, was hired by the Minnesota Wild. He's been here since day one, so they replaced him. They hired within Jeff Kelty, and Brian Poyle will assume his responsibilities as co-assistant general managers. Scott Nickel will take on the minor league responsibilities as the general manager of the Milwaukee Admirals. Player departures. We'll say goodbye to Alexei Emlin, who had a good season last year. He signed in the KHL, and fan favorite Mike Fisher retired for the second time. I think this time it's permanent, so he was a great guy. Notable additions: Dan Hamhouse was an original Nashville draft pick, first round in 2001. He's coming back for his second stint. 35-year-old veteran defenseman, really shore up the defensive core for the Nashville Predators. Restricted free agent signings that these guys are a huge part of this team. Mika Salamaki for 2 years. UC Saros, one of the most talented young netminders in the NHL, signed for 3 years. Ryan Hartman, we acquired him at the trade deadline from Chicago. Again, another young, promising player. He signed for 1 year. The biggest signing was the extension of Ryan Ellis, associate captain, for 8 years, $50 million. Those are huge. And in my opinion, these guys, they got them all under market value. And you know what that really tells me is a commitment by the organization and the players to keep this group together for many years, and you know, committed to bringing the Stanley Cup to Nashville. And just to cap that off, preseason, home game Friday in Tampa, Saturday, Tuesday, September 25th. We will be broadcasting the first ever preseason game the Nashville Predators have ever done. So I'll be on the broadcast along with my colleagues on that, and they will finish the the preseason September 30th at Carolina. So that about wraps mine up. So thank you. I will call up Rebecca King from the Nashville Predators Foundation now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
I have no videos and no tears today, so we'll be good. As if we're not busy enough, we decided to plan 4 events on one weekend, just 2 weekends ago. We had a fishing tournament on Percy Priest Lake, Friday, Saturday. We did an Ekholm Make-A-Wish clinic for 100 kids, and 25 of those were scholarship kids, which is something that Matthias wanted to add. On Saturday, then PD's party we held at Bridgestone Arena, and we had a dinner for 1,000 over the ice on Sunday night, and then we had a golf tournament with 55 teams at Vanderbilt Legends on Monday. When we tallied all the totals, we raised over $270,000 in a 4-day weekend, and our season has not even begun yet. So we're excited for the prospects. This upcoming season, we will continue our 365 Pediatric Cancer Fund presented by Twice Daily. In a few weeks, we'll be presenting them a check for over $320,000 cash for pediatric cancer research and another $250,000 in kind, which are programs that support the kids at the hospital, including suites to games, which Pekka and Shea Weber purchased for the past 6 years. We'll continue our military salute at each home game. We'll have our first responders and military section at each game. This season, Kyle Turris has purchased 2 season tickets, and they'll be given to organizations that benefit mentally and handicapped children, and so they'll sit in handicapped seats and enjoy the game, and then after the game, he wants to meet them. So along with our other meet and greets with Pekka and Children's Hospital, we'll be adding Kyle Turris. Ryan Johansson will continue his youth hockey development and raising money for youth hockey in the Middle Tennessee community. And Roman Yossi is a big advocate and supporter of Best Buddies. Last year we raised over $30,000 to support their program, which is adding more programs in middle and elementary schools. PK Subban will continue his Blue Line Buddy program with the Metro Nashville Police. Last year we sent letters to all of the sports franchises to encourage them to do this program. It is easy, it is inexpensive, it doesn't take a lot of time, but the impact is dramatic. As you saw, PK won the community award with Metro Nashville Police in April. We just got an email this week that the San Francisco 49ers have implemented it, and so Sunday was their first game, and they had great success, and so it's great to see this program continue in other markets. We're also very proud of our support of communities in need, not just our own community. We are currently planning for the Carolina Hurricanes game on Tuesday. All of the proceeds of the auction will go back to hurricane relief in North Carolina and South Carolina. We have also asked our season ticket holders to donate their tickets back, and we will resell them with 100% of those profits going back to hurricane relief. In the past, we have raised money for the Gatlinburg fire victims, the St. Louis flood victims, Hurricane Irma, which we gave money both to Florida and also Houston, and we sent 20 staff members to Houston to rebuild a woman's house named Julia, and so our staff still talk about that trip and how they're not able just to help here, but also elsewhere. This summer, we had 15 staff members go to South America for a Souls for Souls mission trip to distribute shoes, and that's something that we continue to do annually. So we're very proud of what we do here as well as in the other communities. And then lastly, one partnership that I'm very excited about, we're gonna be doing another calendar this year. Last year we did a dog calendar and we raised $50,000 for Proverbs. This year we're partnering with the Nashville Zoo. And so we have had players throughout the summer go pose with zoo animals. We had Pekka pose with the goats, which is only appropriate because he is the greatest of all time. And so he was in the goat enclosure and it said goats only. And so we have some creative pictures and anticipate raising about $50,000 for the Nashville Zoo. So we'll have a report on that next May. So thank you all for having us and letting us speak. And I don't know who's up next.
Thank you, Rebecca. David Kells is up next. We appreciate it.
Hi there, David Kells, Senior Vice President of Events and Marketing for Bridgestone Arena and the Nashville Predators. Echoing a lot of what everybody else has said, we're busy and getting busier. I have a lot of numbers to throw at you here, but those numbers paint a picture of amazing growth and diversity of events that are coming through our doors. In fiscal year 16, we hosted 56 non-hockey events. In 17, that number grew to 62, and the last fiscal year, we hosted 68 ticketed non-hockey events. This year already, we have held 28 shows, and so that was starting with July 1. In the last 13 days alone, we've hosted 11 public events, including sold-out shows by Jason Aldean and Drake was 2 nights ago. From now till the end of October, we will host 12 events and 9 Predators games. In that time frame, we'll have sold-out shows, 2 sold-out shows from Bruno Mars and 21 Pilots, Chris Young, Maroon 5, and Elton John. For the future, we currently have 17 events holding on-sale dates between now and the end of November, and that's by far the most we can ever think of in the history of the arena. We were talking to the folks in the box office, and they're just cranking out information back and forth between the promoters and Ticketmaster to get all of these things built and on sale and lined up to make sure that everybody's spaced and has a successful on sale. The announced events include Kelly Clarkson, the return of Monster Jam, and Bob Seger. Those will all go on sale next week. Something that I'm really proud of, for the first time in the history of Bridgestone Arena, we'll have 2 Spanish-speaking headliners play. We've never had a Spanish-speaking headliner play here before. I reached out to our Hispanic Chamber of Commerce a couple months ago, got demographic information of who lives in Middle Tennessee now. I sent that out to the promoters, reached out to some folks who regularly have the Hispanic concerts come through, said, who are your promoters, what are they looking for? I sent them the information, they said, yep, Nashville looks like a market where we could be successful. So we have Bad Bunny coming on September 30, and then Banda MS on November 24. So it's all good stuff coming from new promoters and serving a new segment of the community that we haven't been able to service before. So at the moment, we currently have 30 non-hockey events on sale, 220,000 tickets already sold, and $23 million in tickets sold for the next coming fiscal year. So, as you can see, the popularity for Bridgestone Arena as a stop for national tours has not subsided, and neither has the public support for all of those great events. I just want to thank you guys and all the team here at Bridgestone Arena for helping make all those events successful. Any questions for me? Cool, thanks y'all. And Sean Henry is up next.
What do you want to hear at the end of the meeting, right?
Come on, let's not break it.
4 hours. Ironically and shockingly, I don't have a whole lot, except really to say thank you. You heard a lot of good things going on. Pretty fortunate, outside of maybe my first 3 or 4 meetings that some of you were at. Things have been pretty good. 10 years ago, the team almost left. 10 years ago, we probably had 1 sold-out game a year, maybe 8 sold-out concerts a year. At the time, we were trending to be the 25th, 35th, 40th busiest building in the country. We were last in our league in everything. Revenues, attendance, TV viewing, engagements, passion. Fast forward a few years because of really the commitment that you had to us, the decision to get behind our vision, and Tom Seger as a new chairman, when he laid out, we're going to be the best franchise in all sports, we're going to be the best venue in our industry, and we're going to compete year in and year out for a Stanley Cup. You didn't laugh. You might have questioned it a little bit, after the meetings, but you really did get behind it. You decided to partner with us, push us forward, encourage us, say yes to all the crazy things we tried to do, and the results really speak for themselves where we are now. We're in the middle of a 110 straight sellout streak. That's not going to end anytime soon. Every game this year is going to be sold out. Ideally, we play a lot of playoff games as well into June. We have a waiting list for season ticket holders, and things are really, really good. We have a maximum number of 12 games on national TV this year. A few years ago, we only had 50 games of our 81 games even on TV. We're registering ratings in Atlanta, Knoxville, Memphis that are twice the size of our ratings in Nashville just a few years ago. Now we're just keep creeping up. I think we've led our league in attendance and growth in every metric out there for the past 5 years. So things really are good. What you should feel good about, as great as everything is right now, we're in a position to sustain this for a long time. Chris talked about the team a little bit. The team's layered. The contracts are staggered in a position where we have a chance to be one of the elite teams in this league for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and that's what you want. The Red Wings, I think, have the record, current record anyway, for 25 straight playoff appearances. That's what you want to go towards. You do that, you put yourself in a position to start hanging banners, even more important than the President's Trophy and a division banner. So I want to say thank you for what you guys did for us, and ideally, we're going to be able to talk about growth for the next 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. So again, if you have any questions about franchise or anything we're doing or not doing, now's your time. Otherwise, you got to wait until our next presentation. And if not, enjoy the tour. I think we have some menu items out there as well. So really, thank you all so much. Oh, we have video. Thanks, Kyle.
Answer to that last question is yes. And thank you for an excellent presentation as always. Our next board meeting, we're going to need to adjust the date. So we are looking at either October 25th or November 1st. If everyone could look at your schedules and let Alicia know if that presents any conflicts. We appreciate you sharing that at your soonest opportunity. And this has been a fantastic meeting. If there is no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.